Before the bell even rang, people were already afraid, not because they were weak, but because they could feel something different walking toward the ring. Mike Tyson did not look like a normal boxer. He looked like a force that had escaped from a locked room. When he moved, it was fast and heavy at the same time, like a train that learned how to dance. In those few minutes before a fight, the crowd would roar, cameras would flash, and yet a strange silence would fall inside many hearts because everyone knew that the ending could come in seconds. Tyson's legend is not only made of punches and belts. It is made of a childhood that hurt, a mentor who saved him, fame that swallowed him, mistakes that broke him, and a long, hard road toward understanding himself. This is the story of a boy from Brooklyn who turned fear into power, then had to learn how to live when power was not enough. Mike Tyson was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and his world as a child was not gentle. Streets were loud, the problems were close, and the rules were often made by whoever was toughest that day. Tyson was bullied when he was young. He was not the biggest kid, and he carried a softness inside that the neighborhood did not respect. He felt fear often, and he felt shame because he did not want to be afraid. He has spoken about how he tried to protect himself, how he learned to fight not as a sport at first, but as a way to survive. When a child grows up like that, anger can become a best friend, because anger feels stronger than fear. Tyson's early life shaped him in a way that later made the world call him Iron Mike, but it also left wounds that fame could not heal. Trouble found Tyson early. He got into fights and crime and was sent to places for kids who were already labeled as problems. Many people would have looked at him and thought his story would end there, forgotten and broken. But in that dangerous time, a new door opened. Tyson met trainers who saw that his wild energy could become something focused. Boxing was not just hitting. Boxing was rules, timing, control, and discipline. Discipline was the one thing Tyson had never been given in a healthy way. When he first started training, it was like someone took the fire inside him and showed him how to aim it. He began to learn that his hands could build a future, not only destroy a moment. The biggest turning point came when Tyson met Cus D'Amato. Cus was not only a coach, he was a teacher of the mind. He talked about fear like it was a real creature that lived in every person, and he taught Tyson that fear does not have to control you. Cus believed Tyson could become heavyweight champion, and he said it again and again until Tyson started to believe it too. Cus brought Tyson to Catskill, New York, away from the streets. He gave him a home, a routine, and something Tyson had missed for most of his life, a father-like guide who did not just demand results but also offered love and direction. There are well-known images of Tyson with Cus from that time, showing the close bond that helped shape Tyson into a champion source. Cus taught Tyson the peekaboo style, with tight guard, head movement, and quick explosions of power from close range. Tyson was shorter than many heavyweights, so he had to slip inside their reach like a shadow, then strike hard like thunder. This style became his signature, and it made him look almost unstoppable in his early years. Cus also filled Tyson's mind with ideas about greatness. He made Tyson see a future that was bigger than the pain of his past. But the most tragic part of this chapter is that Cus died before Tyson reached the top. Tyson lost the man who had built his foundation, and later, when the world got loud and confusing, that missing foundation mattered more than anyone realized. Tyson's amateur days showed the world what was coming. He was not calm like some boxers. He was intense, sharp, and hungry. He trained with a focus that looked older than his age. When he fought, he did not try to win slowly. He tried to end the fight. People who watched him could feel that this was not only talent. This was a kid who had been hurt and had decided he would never be helpless again. That inner promise gave him a scary kind of strength. By the time he entered professional boxing, he already had a name whispered around gyms, like a storm people saw on the horizon. Tyson turned professional as a teenager, and his rise was fast, almost unbelievable. He fought often, sometimes again and again within a short time, and he won many fights by knockout. Fans did not come to see long battles, they came to see endings. Tyson's style was perfect for that. He moved his head, stepped in, and threw punches that looked like they came from the ground itself. Each win made him more famous, and each win also built a new kind of pressure. The world was watching, and the world was starting to believe that Tyson was not just a champion in the making, but something closer to a myth. Tyson's history-making moment came when he fought Trevor Berbick for the WBC heavyweight title. Tyson was still very young, and the idea of him becoming champion sounded unreal to many people. But in the ring, it became real fast. Tyson knocked Berbick down, and the ending became one of the most replayed moments in heavyweight history. Long-form uploads of the full fight are commonly labeled with the setting and original broadcast details, showing how Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion source. In that moment, Tyson was no longer just a kid who escaped the streets. He was the king of the hardest sport. After winning the title, Tyson did not slow down. He wanted everything. He chased other belts, fought top fighters, and unified the heavyweight division. The fear he created became part of his power. Many opponents looked beaten before the first round ended, not because they were weak, but because Tyson's presence felt like danger. This was the peak era where Tyson looked unstoppable, where the world asked not, will he win, but how fast will it end? Yet while his boxing life looked perfect, his personal life was becoming messy. Fame brings crowds, and crowds bring people who want to use you. Tyson was young, rich, and still carrying childhood pain, and that mix can be explosive. One of the biggest examples of Tyson's peak power was his fight against Michael Spinks. The build-up was huge, and Spinks was undefeated. Then the fight ended quickly, like a flash of lightning. Photos from that famous moment are widely shared, capturing Tyson in the ring during one of his most dominant wins. Source: https://wiki/file:/Mike_Tyson_versus_Michael_ Spinks_%@will%80%93_boxing_ June_27 PNG. This kind of win can do something dangerous to a fighter's mind. It can make him believe he does not need structure anymore. It can make him believe he is bigger than the rules. Tyson's world began to tilt, slowly at first, then faster. As Tyson became richer and more famous, his life outside the ring became louder. Bad influences surrounded him. Training was not always the same. Discipline was harder to keep when the world offered endless distractions. Tyson also went through painful public drama in his personal relationships, and the media followed him like a shadow. The same world that praised him for being unstoppable also seemed ready to enjoy his downfall. Tyson was still winning fights, but the clean structure that Cus built was fading. When structure fades, talent alone must carry the weight, and weight can break even the strongest shoulders. Then came the fight against James "Buster" Douglas in Tokyo. Most people expected Tyson to win easily. Douglas was seen as an underdog, and Tyson was seen as a force of nature. But boxing has a way of telling the truth when you least expect it. Douglas fought with heart and smart strategy. Tyson looked tired and confused in moments. When Douglas knocked Tyson out, the world froze. This upset became one of the biggest in sports history, and long-form full-fight versions are widely searched because it shows the exact moment Tyson's invincible image shattered. Source: that loss was not just a sports result. It was a shock to Tyson's identity. After the Douglas loss, Tyson tried to rebuild. He won again, and he looked dangerous again, but something had changed. A fighter can regain belts, but it is harder to regain the feeling that you are unbreakable. Tyson was still powerful, but his life was still unstable. He was carrying pressure from the world and pressure from himself. He wanted to prove the loss was a mistake, but the deeper truth was that the loss had revealed something important. Tyson needed stability, and stability was exactly what he was losing. Tyson's story took a darker turn when he was convicted of rape in the early 1990s and sentenced to prison. This part of his life changed everything. The ring that once made him powerful was replaced by a place that stripped power away. Public perception shifted hard, and his life became a symbol of collapse. Historical summaries of the conviction and sentencing have been widely reported, showing the legal turning point that reshaped Tyson's life. Source: prison is not only about punishment, it is about silence, and silence forces you to face yourself. Tyson began to look at his past, his anger, and the way he had been living. When Tyson returned to boxing, the world watched closely. Some wanted redemption, some wanted destruction. Tyson still had power, and his comeback fights drew attention fast. Boxing needed stars, and Tyson was still a star even after prison. But his return was different from his rise. Young Tyson had been guided. The older Tyson had to guide himself, and that is much harder when your mind is filled with old battles. He was now fighting not only opponents, but also his own habits and emotions. Tyson's rivalry with Evander Holyfield became one of the defining parts of his legacy. Holyfield was strong, disciplined, and fearless. Tyson lost to him, and frustration grew. Then in their rematch came the moment the world could not believe. Tyson bit Holyfield's ear. It became one of the most infamous moments in sports history. Long-form versions of that fight, often labeled as full coverage of the bite fight, are searched constantly because people still want to see the full context of what happened. Source: that moment damaged Tyson's reputation deeply because it looked like a man losing control in front of the entire world. Tyson later expressed regret, but some moments become tattoos on history. After the chaos, Tyson faced the cameras again. Interviews became a place where he tried to explain himself, defend himself, and sometimes simply survive public judgment. Larry King Live is one of the places where Tyson spoke openly about his life and the Holyfield controversy, giving viewers long-form access to Tyson's voice rather than short clip. Source: in these moments, Tyson often sounded like more than the scary boxer people imagined. He sounded like a man who was confused, wounded, and trying to understand why he kept breaking things, including himself. As Tyson's career moved into later years, the sport changed and his body changed. His style depended on speed and explosive movement. Age takes those gifts first. He still had power, but power alone does not win against top fighters when timing fades. Fights like his loss to Lennox Lewis showed the distance between the old Tyson and the new reality. Even the build-up for that era carried chaos, including the famous press conference brawl footage that showed Tyson's anger still close to the surface. Source: eventually, Tyson stepped away from boxing, and the world he had lived inside for so long grew quiet. Retirement can be hard for fighters because boxing is not just a job, it is identity. Tyson struggled, and he has spoken about addiction, emptiness, and losing money despite earning huge amounts. Over time, he began to change in public. He began to talk more honestly. He began to show humor and softness. He told his story in longer formats, including his one-man show and the filmed special, Mike Tyson Undisputed Truth, which is available through official platforms and gives a deep, long-form look at Tyson speaking for himself. Source: when a man who once scared the world starts admitting fear and pain, it changes how people listen. Later, Tyson launched a podcast that let people hear him in a different way. On Hopixin, he talked with guests and shared thoughts about life, regret, growth, and the strange weight of fame. Early episodes exist in long-form video, showing Tyson speaking and listening in real time instead of performing a role. Source: this version of Tyson felt more like a survivor than a monster, a man trying to build a calmer life out of the pieces. Tyson even stepped back into the ring for an exhibition fight against Roy Jones Jr. Many fans watched because they wanted to feel the past again. Official long-form replays exist through the broadcast service connected to the event, showing how Tyson returned to the spotlight in a new era. Source: he was older, but the crowd still reacted like the legend had never left. You could see that time had changed him, but you could also see that the fire was still there, controlled now, shaped by years of hard lessons. Mike Tyson's life is a story of extremes, but it is also a story of truth. It begins with a scared boy in Brooklyn, pushed into anger by a world that did not protect him. It becomes the story of a mentor who gave him a home and a dream, and of a fighter who became champion so young that the world could not believe it. It becomes the story of domination so sharp that it looked like magic, followed by fame so heavy that it cracked him. Then it becomes the story of failure, prison, and public shame, and the painful reality that the biggest fights are sometimes outside the ring. Yet the story keeps moving, because Tyson did not disappear. He kept talking, kept changing, kept trying to understand himself. His legacy will always include the terrifying knockouts, the titles, and the way he changed heavyweight boxing with speed and pressure that few have ever matched. But his deeper legacy may be the warning and the hope inside one life. The warning is that talent can be destroyed by chaos if it has no stable home. The hope is that even after the worst chapters, a person can still search for growth and honesty. Mike Tyson became a boxing legend, but the most powerful part of his story is not only what he did to others in the ring. It is what life did to him, and how he kept trying again and again to stand back.